This is the Stereosis.
All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, on today's podcast on the Stereosis. Today, unlike last time where we were talking about why NYC should be scrapped, today we are looking into a very vital aspect of the Igbo culture, which is Iduno, or Iduwai, as some people might choose to call it. It's a system whereby the parents of the bride, in coalition with the dad or the relatives, buy a lot of materials for their daughter who is going into another man's house. Now, today to discuss about this subject matter is a very good friend of mine, MC Poison, Nshinaman. I call him Nshineyendo, Nkembona Africa. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good. As a matter of fact, delighted at least to have my presence here at the Stereosis. As a matter of fact, you guys are dope. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, you guys are dope.
MC Poison, if tapping into your experience as an MC who has actually gone to series of traditional functions, especially traditional wedding, which I'm sure of, what do you have to say about Idulo in Igbo culture?
Wow. Iduno, that word Iduno, in other words, settling her temporarily, giving her temporal gifts. As a matter of fact, is a thing of that shows that she's coming from somewhere.
It's a thing of pride.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's a thing of Orobedia. This is what I came to your house with.
This is my contribution.
Thank you from my parents.
From my parents.
Our own as well.
Yeah. And that is why in the manager say no Ogobuchioye too.
Yes.
Okay.
And so that's that.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's good. But Iduno is often being neglected these days by people. Why do you think is the reason why a lot of people neglect that very vital part of our culture?
All right, now and then are not the same.
Okay.
If I can recall, now and then are not the same. I can remember then when a daughter is going out to her husband's place, the whole woman now will be like, hey, I have an obligation. I have a task. And I want yes, I really need to get along this. And I really need to get along that.
Now, and most of the time, Sunday me a contribution system, sir.
Yes.
Like
yes.
in some villages, they do it like in form of a contribution.
You are right. But now, the system changed.
Yeah.
Most reasons. We have most reasons for that.
What do you think is the reason for?
Okay, number one change is fear.
Fear of what?
Good. Fear. Let it not be that through this gift, my enemy will not get through me.
Either like your enemy will get to you through the gift
yes.
which they offer.
Because most often, I have heard stories. Yes, she didn't give birth for after 15 years of marriage due to the gift a friend presented to her at her wedding day or at her traditional day. Something like that.
No, but this one we're talking about is not gifts. That because anybody like if you are trying to curtail this aspect of the culture, don't also forget that in your wedding day, friends gets you gift.
Okay.
But this is the gift from your immediate woman, your parents.
Yes, because they're sending you off traditionally.
Yes.
Okay.
Now there is this post I saw on Twitter by Chief what's her name again? Chief Ofuji or thereabout, where she was saying, and I read, she said there is this Igbo marriage culture called Iduwai, which involves sending forth a daughter to the husband's house with cooking utensils and other home necessities. it reinforces the mindset that a woman's primary role is to cook for her husband. I personally deem it a cake.
Okay,
What does like
that's her own view.
is a personal point of
That's
view.
yeah, of course. That's he didn't oblige. He did it. She did. She's not delegating it to us. That's her own view.
Yeah.
So coming to that, her view, this is nothing to me personally. Buying cooking utensils for my daughter that is going to her husband's place, it's not.
It's an essentiality too.
This is assumed they are starting up afresh. Yes, they are starting up afresh. So as a father, as someone who has built his own home, I need to establish or help my own daughter get along with her home, without stress.
I think she was actually being very myopic because according to one of what I've seen, my own sister has been married. My sisters were married too.
Okay.
And then, but let me tap in from what one of my friends said. He said that when the sister got married, the mother was busy buying all the essential kitchen utensils, but his own dad too wasn't relaxing. He went about buying phones, buying other big gadgets like washing machine.
Of course.
Sometimes they can people even offer cars.
Okay, yes.
And I've heard stories where parents even
give out houses.
Yeah, they give out houses as their own inheritance ahead of time.
Yes.
Because it's like a kind of a thing where IDU, like even imaro like mbemadi bacha boy now. Over a period of time, they
will settle you.
Ogagi,
Yes.
Now, assuming paraventure now, if a lady inherits a house from the dad, she's already been settled.
Of course.
And then also, I also know that a lot of people actually settles based on utuakasi way there.
Exactly.
Now, you cannot expect an impoverished man to buy a car.
No.
Yes. Now, but the major thing is, one thing I want to talk about here is people actually propagate the cost of marriage in Igbo land, and they neglect an essential part of this whole marriage, because the culture is a process and it's one process after the other.
Okay.
Now, as this phase passes, when you get to the stage of IDU and ULO,
yes,
I believe there is no family with common sense. Now, man, do you know why? Because most times, if a lady comes into a house now and then she came with nothing, it gets to a point where if she goes into an argument with the husband will say, Ataronge.
After all,
And now it's a thing of shame too.
Yes.
If most people, like if a lady gets to witness that kind of because she feels abandoned.
Yes.
She feels like nowhere on man.
Feel rejected.
She feels rejected, dejected.
And more so, in her husband's house, she will not feel belonged.
And this is what gives most women sense of entitlement when a woman comes paraventure into her kitchen.
Yes,
That is why they say this is my kitchen.
Yes.
Do you know why? Majority of what's in that kitchen
comes from her.
It's part of what you know.
Yes.
And even if those things are not in use, in her psychologically, to her, if you don't want this one, I can get from what the items, and then I replace them. So this is actually mine. And now another thing people fails to understand about the Igbo IDULO thing is that in some other families, it's not just about buying materials. There are people who settles their daughter financially.
Of course.
Now, you know,
I've heard stories of that.
If you remember in olden times, you see them buying just all those primary stuff because that was what they needed then. But between imago and all those things. But in modern times, as time got evolving, you started seeing them adding sewing machine. You know why?
Yes.
Because majority of those girls in those era were tailors, seamstress.
Yes.
And that is why they go getting them sewing machines. And in today's society, you see parents, they buy what you need in your house, and sometimes they offer you a car, a house, depending on their level. And then they also give you cash. to set up, depending on if they have enough. So now, what do you think should be done to actually propagate this culture further, given the changing times?
Yes, given to the changing times, our ladies and some guys that are getting entangled with our daughters will be like, hey, I don't need this. I already have it. I'm a big boy. I'm a rich man. I'm a rich guy. All those things. Forgotten traditionally. You know, that traditional wedding is the only thing we Igbo inherited from our parents, great-grandparents.
It's one of those things.
It's one of those things,
and it's still actually being,
and it's still working.
Yeah,
despite the negligence.
Yes, negligence. You said
yes. Okay. Despite the negligence, because I call it negligence because our ladies these days will be like, "Hey, my husband is not a
they want to just show up."
Yes, they are trying to show up, not knowing it's not a question of whether you are rich or poor.
It is a symbolic act.
It is it's a symbolic act.
Yeah,
indeed. Just like one of my friends says some time ago that the time our former president, the daughter had her wedding, gift was
everywhere. Yeah.
Now, I know basically people who is busy arguing whether Glock is an Igbo or not.
Yeah, I understand. It's just like, see, let me tell you, just like people places value on from the woman's side.
Yes.
So also do the husband from the husband's side. They also place value, even people don't know it, on
good.
Do you understand?
Just
and
like,
now there are people are always very careful how they treat you.
Yes, in olden days, yes, my daughter, hey, Mama Nkechi, one wine and bakwanku next month. Now you, the Mama Nkechi, will be, hey, this is beautiful, this is good news. You'll be running around to get something for.
Bearing in mind that now
it will reciprocate.
Yeah.
It will reciprocate.
Yeah, definitely.
They don't just end it because yes, no daughter in my house again to marry, so therefore I will not bring to you. Of course, they brought to your house before.
Yeah, so you have to
keep going.
Yeah.
Not now, these days, everybody will be like, something like that. No.
Is that the real fear?
Yeah, that is the fear. They are afraid. Let it not be that my daughter
and this is the reason a lot of people has just are trying to even abandon the whole practice.
Okay.
And then I don't know what's happening, but the parents alone, even I tell some people, if like assuming you're a daughter,
yes,
and then you know your parents doesn't have money to do some kind of things for you. Now if you feel you're well to do enough, you can buy some of those things yourself personally, and then still take to your husband. You're not taking it because you're helping the man, because before the man comes to marry you, whether you like it or not, he has kitchen utensils and
moreover he have concluded in his heart
that he will marry you,
and I can do it.
But it's very symbolic. One, some people will tell you that some of those items, just like in the olden days, like when amongst the items they give you is a pot that tells you that you should cook food for your husband, because that was how you were trained.
And just like you said, Chief Ofuji said, Chief Ofuji, to me, he is wrong, or rather she's wrong.
Yes.
She's wrong, because buying cooking utensils for my daughter that is going, I am not telling her to go and be a cooker or a chef for him.
A cook, yes.
Because a way to a man's heart is stomach.
Is a stomach. When your husband is properly. Anyways, I know what she was arguing about. She was talking about role playing in marriage.
Okay.
Though I feel she was just mixing things up. Anyways, or I don't know. It's not a cake, because those things were symbolic for me. Like I said, now getting you the pot is just to tell you that now you have to cook. That is why they give you a pot and they give you
Eku.
That is the tripod stand. And then they will give you a stool. That stool too is very symbolic.
And as well, plates, spoons, and all that.
One thing I want to emphasize is that stool and the buyeg is also very symbolic.
Yes,
because it's telling you that Now, if Reba Inaga, sit down well.
Na ha pagoro chepe. Good. Good.
But people don't understand it.
Good.
Now you can do this, and that is why some of those things don't get missing. In Igbo culture, you don't allow those items to be missing. You can even, if you like, buy the person a house, and then you go to the area ite na eku. You've not really, and that is why, like some people, it's not literally that you must buy the local one.
Yes.
Now you can get the person even if it's pressure pot.